celebrating community culture and music. It is the Sipp FM, and I am Quita B. And as I told you, on MLK Day, because who else would I bring in, right?
That's right.
Okay, if I can't get MLK himself, why not bring in Rita, Brent? How are you?
I'm good. I'm cold, but I'm good.
Let me tell you something. If this wasn't going on today, I would be wrapped up in my bed somewhere.
Listen, me too.
Not only is it cold, but I went to a boot camp this weekend.
Outside?
No. Thankfully it was inside, but I kept going outside because I had to catch my breath, all right? Like, I was getting sick up in there. They were working me so hard, and then I had a silk press before I went, and you see my hair now, so here we are.
Silk press, okay.
But it ain't all about me today. It's all about you. We are up here to talk about an amazing event that you have coming up. But before we get to that, we got to catch up.
Let's do it.
It's been a whole minute. The last time I saw Rita Brent, she had a whole rap.
Ooh.
Like you remember your rap?
Oh, you mean a roller rap?
Like a roller rap.
I do a rap. You mean a roller rap?
No, you had a whole roller rap, and you were still a student in college, and you went to JSU.
I did, and I got my start right here at 88.5 WJSU. Now, we were in the Blackburn building on the campus of Jackson State at the time. That was before you made the switch to the E-Center. And I went to Tougaloo first, and they didn't have a mass comm program. So I said, I want to be on the radio.
Yeah.
And Dr. Bobby Trussell was head of the department at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember she used to say, it's WJSU, not JSU.
Oh.
Like, and so it was just a great experience being in radio, and then I went on to do it for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I miss radio, to be honest with you.
Really? Yeah. But you are definitely doing a lot of talking now. But let me ask you real quick about your experience here as a student at JSU. Just kind of thinking back to the mindset you were in then. Mm-hmm. And I know it was young, you were probably, thinking a whole bunch of stuff, didn't know anything about anything at the time, but you had hopes and dreams.
Absolutely.
Is this where you thought you would see yourself at this moment?
That's a good question. I would say so. When you were in college, you could go all kind of different ways. I went from wanting to do psychology and ended up being a mass comm major.
Yeah.
But by the time I got onto WJSU, I was like, this feels like right. This feels like home. I'm good at this.
Right.
And I could see myself doing this for a long time. Mm-hmm. And at the time, the students, we had this round table discussion. And who knew that that's what they be doing now with podcasts and things like that. But I remember we used to have a round table discussion. I used to have to come in and run the board for the games. And I think I was like, I could see a future in this. And then leaving Jackson State, going to Mississippi Public Broadcasting.
Yeah.
Jackson State prepared me for that. This radio station prepared me for that. So by the time I got there, me and a good friend, Jonas Adams, started at the same time. He is now a big producer at NPR.
Yes.
And our roots were at Jackson State on the radio station. So I just so much kudos to my alma mater for preparing me for the real world.
Wow. And as real as it gets for you right now. Like, you spent 6 or 7 years at MPB?
Yes.
Before deciding to step out on faith.
That's right.
And pursue comedy. Like, how did you know you wanted to be a comedian?
Ooh. So whenever I'm looking at my Facebook memories. Yes. I see these little statuses I used to put up. Like, I want to be a comedian, but how do I do that in Mississippi? Come 2013, there was this club on Terry Road called Suite 106. Okay. I went one night and there were people doing comedy. Yeah. And I tell the story, while they were talking, the hair started to rise on my arms when they were doing jokes, and I was like, ooh, I feel like I could do that. Mm-hmm. A few weeks later, I was on stage doing my first set, and that was now 11 going on 12 years ago.
Oh my gosh. Like, what was it? What were you talking about?
Some inappropriate stuff that would get me canceled.
Okay, well, let's not do that here. So
it was just, I didn't know how to write. Yeah. I was trying. Right. I wrote some jokes, but they just were not good. I hadn't studied the craft or people that I admire to get the technicalities of comedy down that first time. And it was just a 5-minute set, but I got some laughs, and I thought, this could lead to something. Right. And I remember my mother had just left church, and she was sitting on the front row with a church suit on. She was like Shirley Caesar. It was hilarious.
Oh my God.
She was like, that's my baby. And that 5-minute set has led to, as you can see, a whole bunch of things.
And I don't think you're worried about being canceled anymore if I look at some of your comedy, because, you know, you don't mind mixing comedy and politics and the pop culture issues of today. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that makes people connect mm-hmm. with you. So when you saw Nelly and Snoop Dogg performing,
I went straight to my monologue because I'm doing a monologue at my late night show that's coming up. I went straight to the monologue. So I'm going to have jokes about Nelly, Snoop, Soulja.
Oh my gosh.
All of them.
They'll be able to get all of that at the late night with Rita Brent.
Yeah, and that's what people expect from a late night show.
Right.
That monologue, when the host first comes out, is typically about current events and things like that. So whatever has happened during the week, they're expecting the late night host to address it in the monologue, and I shall.
And I can't wait. I know it's going to be, first of all, super funny, mm-hmm. and probably really informative too, because sometimes in comedy you learn something.
Absolutely.
Every time. Now, we jumped ahead a little bit. I do want to kind of just take a moment because you have put in a lot of work. Mm-hmm. It hasn't just been, hey, you know, I decided to do this and then here I am. Ta-da. Right. You know, you put in a lot of work over the years, going on the road, and you've also made some really big hits and milestones. Mm-hmm. I've seen you on, what was the name of that YouTube? It was Comedy Hype.
Yes.
And you were there for a whole minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have toured with Ricky Smiley. I think I've seen where you call Ricky Smiley and Cedric the Entertainer like your mentors. How did you connect with them? Because there's a lot of comedians out here now.
I know, and I think about that all the time. I'm like, God is so good. Because there's thousands of comedians.
Right.
And I end up, a little black girl from Mississippi, end up on tour with Ricky Smiley and Cedric Entertainer, folks I watched growing up.
Right.
So 2016, there was this competition at the Stardome Comedy Club in Birmingham, Alabama, also where Ricky Smiley got his start. And I was there, and my manager at the time, Miranda Joyner, she was like, you need to compete in this competition.
Yeah.
And I did, and I won. And so the owner of the Stardome, Bruce, and his wife, Chi-Chi, they're like, we think you need to meet Ricky Smiley. You guys have similar temperaments and styles. And I did. And I did a quick set, and his manager, Terry, was like, we're going to put you on the road with us. And that was 2016.
Wow.
9 years I've been touring with Ricky. And it has just been amazing in terms of having someone who is so professional. He's a staple in the comedy community.
Yes.
He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, so I get all the good habits.
Right.
You always hear about folks having nightmares on tour.
Yes.
That has just not been the case for me. And I think God ordained this connection.
That's amazing because, you know, some women can have bad experiences, and we've heard about that. But like you said, this amazing spiritual connection between you and Ricky and putting you all together. And then you've also written for the Emmy Awards. And Cedric the Entertainer, he hosted that year, correct?
Yeah, he's the reason I got on. I had just started touring with him. And a few months later, his manager, KB, called and was like, Sid wants you to write for him for the Emmys. And I was like, you know you're on the phone with Rita, right? You called the right person. He's like, yeah. And so that was my first writing gig. First one.
Wow.
The second one. The first one was a Charlemagne the God show. But that was my first award show writing gig. The Emmys. And I'm the baby in the room. It's folks in there who were written for Living Color, Eddie Murphy. And I'm just in there nervous, shaking in my boots like, Lord, please let me be able to contribute, you know, and not come off like the baby.
Exactly.
Yeah. So from that, I was able to write for a People's Choice, Academy of Country Music Awards, the Mark Twain Prize. And, you know, once you get onto that side of things and earn your respect, then people will continue booking you. I'm writing for the Grammys again this year.
Awesome.
Their charitable branch is called Music Cares.
Yes.
Every year we honor a person of the year. This year it is the Grateful Dead. And so I'm the head writer for that. And I have been for the past 4 years.
Congratulations. Do you consider it like the major highlight of your career, or do you have others?
Oh, this is a highlight because what they do, they bring in people to do musical tributes to the person of the year. And so I have to talk to each of those persons directly to work on their intro. What are you going to say before you perform?
Yes.
So John Legend, the Pentatonics, Lenny Kravitz. I mean,
my gosh.
It's just, you know, some of the folks I've worked with. So you really have to move with confidence. You can't move like a fan.
Right.
Yeah.
I love
Lenny Kravitz is fine in person.
I kind of figured he was. I didn't want to just like come off like a fan right here. But
I was drooling.
I figured that. Now,
tight pants too. It was great.
You know what? Don't start. Don't start up in here, okay? But, just thinking about what you are doing, like, just all over, not just here, but you are still doing what you can here in Jackson to help at least from what I can see, help other talent, get some exposure. You have the workout room. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So when I first began doing comedy in Jackson, I realized that comedians need somewhere to quote unquote work out their material.
Yes.
So before you do a show, you don't want to be doing a bunch of new jokes for the first time, especially when you're getting paid. You want to have tested this material and worked it out. So by the time you get to a big show, you know that it works.
Yeah.
And so I had that idea about 10 years ago and it just didn't manifest. And when I moved back to Jackson, when I got back from New York and Atlanta, I said, well, let me try to kick up the workout room again, but not just limited to comedians. Yeah. So poets, artists, they have to come in and do their original music, original jokes. And man, I have really discovered some gems in Jackson. Just very talented. They have original things, and they just need a platform.
Right.
And so did the workout room for a year straight, but it was a weekly event, and it was a little taxing. But I'm going to bring it back.
Yeah.
Because people appreciate having a stage to try things and work out things and perfect things.
Right.
And it has been helpful for me, too, because I hosted and I try out my own material.
Yeah.
But every artist needs an opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
So when you get the big gig, you will have, tested and, okay, this is tried and true. I know this is going to work. You want that reassurance by the time you get to a big gig.
That's amazing because you don't have to do that. You could be really focusing on your own self, but you're doing the workout room and then you're doing late night with Rita Brent. Now, Rita B, I want to ask you, what type of music or what song can you think of that really, gets you, I guess, I don't know what word to use because y'all young and everything, and I'll say, hyped up, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Before you go on stage.
Lit.
Yes.
I'm going to go old and new. Wipe Me Down.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm on. I remember being on the yard dancing to that with the Deltas. And now it's going to be Glorilla 7 p.m. Friday, 9 o'clock.
Hey.
I ain't got no what and no what ain't got me. Yeah.
Glorilla's glow up is crazy.
Facts.
Okay.
Facts.
But so is yours. You are really doing your thing. You got so much going on. We're very proud of you here in Jackson.
Thank you.
And I love the fact that you are continuing to, in your way, invest in Jackson with Late Night with Rita Brent.
That's right.
Okay. Now you're about to shoot off to the Grammys and do your thing in February, but before you go, you're going to be giving us Late Night with Rita Brent. What is that all about?
So I will be completely transparent.
Okay.
Last year, 2024, I auditioned for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I sent in a package to write for the Jimmy Fallon show.
Okay.
So I was trying to become a writer. I sent in an SNL audition.
Yeah.
Everybody's always like, you need to be on SNL.
Yeah.
I feel like I would do well on SNL.
Absolutely.
But apparently they don't think so.
Not yet.
Yeah. And so I think it's a combination of getting rejected.
Yeah.
It can either do one or two things. It can discourage you or encourage you to do your own thing. And so I have decided this year to choose myself. I'm not going to wait on the industry to deem me worthy enough for some type of big position. I know I'm worthy enough. So it has been my dream to have a late night show because I get to incorporate all of the things that I do. My interviewing skills, comedy, music, improv, entertainment. That is literally the combination of who I am as an artist. And the late night platform is just perfect for me to exercise all those gifts. And it's going to happen. January 24th at Dueling Hall. I just had a rehearsal with the live band. I named them the Big Joker Band. If you play spades, you know how important the Big Joker is.
Yes.
This house band is important, and we had a great 4 or 5 hour rehearsal.
Yeah.
Working on transitions and cues, and so whatever you have watched on television, it's going to be that, but it's going to be Mississippi flavor, Rita Brent flavor, and I think everybody's in for a treat.
I love that. Now you said interviews. Who are you going to be interviewing?
Ooh, this lineup for the first show is just nasty.
Okay.
I have Dr. Roderick Little, who's the director of dance for Jackson State, Coach T.C. Taylor, Celebration Bowl champion, Dr. Nashley Cephas. She owns the Bean Path. She's a tech evangelist, does some work with Amazon. She was working for the Democratic Party this last go round. And the big one, of course, is the Bobby Rush. We're going to close it out with him.
Not him.
Yes.
Not him.
This is the lineup for the first show. Like, this is sick.
This is crazy. This is amazing. And for you to get Dr. Little, like, right off the heels of Pasadena.
Super Bowl.
He performed at the, with Usher at the Super Bowl. Were you just as surprised as everybody else when we were, like, at home seeing them perform?
Oh, yeah. I was about to jump out my skin. I'm looking and I'm like, that band look familiar.
Yes.
That's my band. That's the Boom. Yeah, so I can't wait to talk with him about that. Coach T.C. Taylor, of course, coming off the heels of Deion's exit, like how he was able to gather himself and bring home the Celebration Bowl championship.
And I think he did that just because he knew he was coming on Late Night with Rita Brent. It's just like, I can't come on here and be a loser. So
that's right. That's right.
Let's go ahead and get a national championship.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Dr. Cephas Nashley, I went to Murrah with her, and she is just taking the tech world by storm. And so we're going to have a Tech Minute, a very funny surprise during the Tech Minute. But I also want folks to know that Mississippi is technologically savvy. We're keeping up with the times. And she has a tech hub over there at the Bean Path and about 17,000 acres. And I just want to speak with her about her intentions and how she plans to keep Mississippi in the technology conversation.
Wow.
And of course, I think Bobby Rush is going to be unpredictable. We might talk, but if he wants to just come on and jam the whole time, guess what? That's what we're going to do.
Okay. I love that. I love that. And I also love how you said you chose yourself. And so with that being said, I do need to ask you, like, what words, because you stepped out on faith and began a career that you have today. And you are still doing amazing things. Like, let's not play, okay? Like, yes, you chose yourself. You auditioned for some things that you did not get. At the same time, there are a lot of things that you have that are coming up. So it's still equally amazing. But what words of inspiration do you have for people who may still be on that side of rejection where it looks like nothing's going to happen?
I would say listen to that still voice, and it's two voices. It is yours that controls the narrative you tell yourself on a daily basis, and then for me, it was God's voice. That was the main reason I left MPB, because I said, God, if I'm supposed to leave, send me a sign that I cannot deny.
Yeah.
And you will never guess what happened. I was sitting in my little office at MPB. In walks this man named Rushion McDonald, who at the time was Steve Harvey's manager.
Oh my God.
He just walked in my office. He doesn't live in Mississippi. He was just there for an appearance. And he said, people tell me I need to meet you and tell you that you need to leave, that you should be doing bigger things. And I was like, okay, God, that was fast. You know?
And very clear.
Yeah, very clear. And I left probably a month later. But just that idea of, and it's simple, listen to God's voice, but you have to be present enough and willing to hear it.
Yeah.
But also, don't talk negatively about yourself. And it's really easy when you're an entrepreneur, you constantly deal with self-doubt.
Yeah.
Because you hear so many no's. But to your point, you have to appreciate the yeses too.
Yes.
You know, be grateful and know that God is going to stand on his promises, you know, so that is a challenge, you know, staying encouraged as an entrepreneur. But a good friend once told me to just stay in the game. That's what I'm doing, stay in the game.
Love it, love it. Now, let's go back to Late Night with Rita Brent once more. Where can they buy tickets? Because you can get all this inspiration and motivation in person.
That's
all right.
That's right. And on social media, post videos and stuff. Ticketmaster. And it should be noted that this is general admission. So I usually have VIP tiers, but I didn't have time to do all that this time. So get there early, first come, first serve. The show starts at 8. Doors are going to be open by 7 at least. Get your tickets on Ticketmaster. Be sure to go to Ticketmaster.com because there are some scam websites out there, unfortunately, and folks are like, I didn't get my confirmation. I was like, you probably weren't on Ticketmaster. Make sure that everything looks good and it's not questionable. But yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be packed. You know, people are like, are the tickets sold out? I'm like, I don't know. This go around, I haven't been asking for ticket updates. I've just been doing the work, and whoever's supposed to be there is going to be there.
Love it.
And this is a birthday celebration, too. I do a yearly birthday show, and since I'm going to be going for the Grammys this year, this is also going to double as a birthday celebration, this show.
That's
this is
awesome.
A gift to myself.
A gift to Rita Brent, and your gift can just be your presence.
That's right.
At the show. All right, Late Night with Rita Brent, and make sure you follow her.
That's right, at Rita Brent Comedy on all social media. No longer TikTok. Is it back? I don't know. You can follow me on Facebook.
It's back, but you can't download it if you took it off your phone.
Oh my!
And I
Trickery.
did that.
I'm more concerned about CapCut. I was using that app to edit videos and add captions, so I care more about that than TikTok. But that ain't the point. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram. I'm not doing Twitter that much. Threads, YouTube. Yeah. And listen, when you follow creators and watch our stuff, that really does help us because I'm monetized on these platforms. So, you know, it does help me pay my bills, just FYI. No pressure, y'all, but I'm just saying.
Another gift to Rita Brent for her birthday.
That's right.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And yes, we're looking forward to the Late Night with Rita Brent for sure.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, and thank you for asking good questions because not everybody does.
Oh, well, thank you. Okay. All right, let's get back to the music. You see, I'm fighting for my life with this mic right here. All right, let's get back to the music with Victoria Monet right here with 1900s on the Sipp.